welcome to the third weekend of the Maserati Trofeo World Series. After an unusual weekend kicking off the championship in Spa as part of the WEC, the Maserati paddock headed to Hungary in support of the DTM. And that's where Mauro Calamia really made his mark. You join us on the grid here at Silverstone for race 1, and I'm joined with P2. Ricardo, do you think you can catch Mauro here on race 1?
So I hope, I don't know, because I'm a little bit sick and I have a little bit of fever, and I don't know if my body is ready to win. I will try all my best and I hope to finish on the podium, and we will see for the race 2.
Thank you. Well, we're going to soon find out.
Well, we are here. Round 3 brings us to Silverstone, the Grand Prix circuit of the Maserati Trofeo World Series. Old pit lane, but we are using the full Grand Prix circuit. And Mauro Calamia is on the pole position on the left, the inside, with Riccardo Ragazzi on the outside in that green and black machine. And it's Ragazzi who is looking fiery around this Silverstone circuit. Watch the lights. Half an hour sprint race, race 1 underway. And who is going to get the best start? Now on the racing line is Ragazzi, but on the inside line is Mauro Calamia for this very fast corner at Cups. Who has got the whole shot? Everyone seems to have made it through a really healthy field of cars. 23 in all, and they're still side by side, 2 by 2 as they head to the flat out Maggotts and Beckett section. Ragazzi falls into the lead of the race. Mauro Calamia falls in behind him, and therefore it was the outside line that was a slightly faster line through that first section of turns, with Alberto Cola moving into 3rd position ahead of Gabriel Gardel. On board then with our championship leader Mauro Calamia in the slipstream, looking to try and find a way past Ragazzi. Puts his car deep into the mirrors but can't find a way through. So Cola it is who lies in 3rd position, just ahead of this man Gabriel Gardel, who looks to his left hand side. He's still got challenge from behind. He's having to defend as we goes into Vale, but is it enough to attack the inside line? No, it's not quite. Just trying to spot who it is in that 5th position as we look through all the cars, and now running on to the new start and finishing line, the Formula 1 start and finish straight that we're not using this weekend. And what would be the first corner here at Abbey. Again, another really flat out corner. A little puff of brake from Michael Cullen, the Irishman who's used to racing on these shores. He's moved to the Maserati Trofeo World Series this year. Normally shares a car with Mark Turley, but they've got their own cars for this weekend. And in fact, we only have about, I think it's 2 or 3 teams this weekend, where we are second driver for the second of the sprint races, and then they'll combine for the 1 hour enduro race. Here comes Calamia again, down into Brooklands. Later on the brakes, stronger on the brakes, gets the nose in, but just can't get quite alongside. How close they are, though. Good performance from Ragazzi, who has been one of the stars, and it's Giorgio Cernegatio, who is in the 70 car, the black and white machine that's lying there in 5th position. Right under the wing Ragazzi going into the first corner, but Ragazzi holds his outside line through Copse. Very, very brave indeed, and they are very strict here on track limits, so making sure that not four wheels goes over the curves there at Copse that you'll have seen in the Grand Prix just 2 weekends ago. The Formula 1 Grand Prix was here at Silverstone, and now we're back to the Maserati Trofeo World Series. Good battle though at the front of the field. Alberto Cola still holding on to that third position in the white machine, and then Gabriel Gardel, GT champion of course. Been racing since the start of the year in the Maserati Trofeo Series, basically as a guest driver for the Swiss team, focusing his main attention on the Blancpain Endurance Series that raced here about a month before. Looking a bit further down the field, number 12 machine, Daniel Diaz-Valia is a new driver to the championship this weekend, and Massimo Mantoviano is also new in the 51 car, and they're side by side going in to Vale. Siegler is there around the outside in the green car, and he's managed to make that one stick. I think he's still going to try and go all the way around the outside. Has he made it? Yes, he has. Lovely move from Siegler. Andrea Siegler has been in the championship all year and is used to fighting in the crux of things. Here is Alan Simoni, the 23 car, qualified incredibly badly right to the back of the pack, and is in fact started very much in last position and never got a good lap time in, and he's already moving his way up to the field. How far can he get in this 30-minute sprint race? Meanwhile, back at the front of the field, a little slide there from Ragazzi, goes a fraction wide through Luffield. But it's all about Copse, because Calamia is going to have much more traction out of Luffield, and now he's going to get the drag, and once again he'll be tucked under that huge rear wing of the Maserati MC Gran Turismo. This time though he pulls to the inside line, and surely now he can make that move stick. Mauro Calamia leads the race one here at Silverstone. Absolutely textbook move. Ragazzi thinks about coming back at him on the exit, but really there is no room through these great section of turns. Down another gear through Beckett's now. Very bumpy this second part, look. And the car really weighted on the left side as the track falls away from you as well. Gotta have a good balanced car, and Mauro Calamia now with clean track ahead of him will get his head down. What can Gabriel Gardel do in the second machine though? Looks to the inside of Cola, can't find a way through. Meanwhile, round the outside of the 70 car comes Andrea Cecalero. And Cecalero, who shares the car with Matthias Becker, having a pretty strong year of things, those two. Becker the slightly slower of the two drivers. And Cecalero then trying to get maximum points out of this race, and then will make his mark on the endurance race, the 1 hour race on Sunday afternoon. Right, to the battle then for third position, Cola versus Gardel. Gardel had a quick look there, didn't he? Through Vale, but couldn't find a way through. Now we look at Siegler, contact. Oh no, and he's off into the gravel trap as well, and he's taken Lino Curti with him. Can Curti keep himself going through that gravel trap round at Luffield? No doubt in my mind that Siegler and Massimo Mantoviano are both out of the race. And a big shame there. Bit of a misunderstanding, really. And now Cola is behind Gardel. Here's a replay. Comes up the inside, and Vieno just shutting the door. And then as Massimo Vieno rolled backwards, Siegler was pitched into a second jump. So Gardel passed Cola then, out the side of our cameras, and is now chasing down Ragazzi for second. Here comes Cecalero down the inside of Cola. So Cola fading in the second half of this race. Now normally the tyres are pretty tricky to manage throughout the full hour race, but such is the temperature here at Silverstone today, even in these races, the tyre pressures and temperatures therefore are being really strained. And Cecalero eases his way past Cola and into third position onto the podium. I know he'll do light in fourth position for the moment, won't he? Because he's got this little battle of Ragazzi and Gardel ahead of him. Mauro Calamia, by the way, has just disappeared off into the distance. We go back on board with Gardel, looking over his left shoulder. Putting his hand out of the window, must be getting hot in that car, and that just allows, to sort of channel some air into his body and his hands. Has to look down the inside of Ragazzi, but can't find a way through. You can see his dashboard updating him on the distance between he and the cars in front and behind, and also on his lap time as well. And it pretty much is real time. It corrects itself every about 100 metres. Not long now for Gardel to make this move stick. He's been there a while through Copse. Keeps the car settled. And then just behind Ciccolaro, using a bit more than he should really. Now into Maggots and Beckett's. The car's bouncing around, but thankfully, most importantly, the tyres stuck to the circuit still. Oh, he's lost drive. Gardel has lost drive. You can hear the engine just revving, but no drive. He's still in 5th gear. The dashboard telling us that, but it looks like, Gabriel Gardel is out of this race. What a shame. No points for him, whilst his championship challenger, here he is, Mauro Calamia, disappears off into the distance in his formidable, relaxed style. Looks so at ease at the wheel of this machine. Only started racing at the end of last year in GTs, had been racing in Formula 2 is where he cut his craft in single-seaters. And the cars with extra downforce in 2014, a slightly more refined setup, and he's finding it a dream to drive with this Swiss team. Final lap now, and Mauro Calamia looks on course to pick up maximum points from race 1. No one can touch him. Won all 3 races in Budapest. The last time out. Should have won both races at Spa, but for a big spin into Eau Rouge for the first time and a bit of over-exuberance having his first pole position, but now he's much settled down. Of course, he leads the Under-30s Cup as well. And just look how relaxed he is. He's not even driving with his thumbs, just pushing the steering wheel around with the palm of his hand, not holding on too tight, coaxing this car to the checkered flag. And it's been yet another exemplary performance from Mauro Calamia. To the finish line he comes then, the checkered flag awaits, as does his Swiss team, who punch the air with delight and congratulate Mauro Calamia on victory in race 1 here at Silverstone. He punches the air, and here is confirmation of the result. Ragazzi grabbing 2nd position, and Andrea Ciccolaro moving up to 3rd. Great points for that 28 machine. Cola, Serganiato and Alan Simoni getting 6th position from 23rd on the grid.
Mauro, another dominant performance from you. Just tell us about that overtake on Ricciardo.
Yeah, it was not easy to overtake him because I know what I have to do. I was trying to take a lot of points for the championship, and yeah, he made a little mistake in the last corner, and yeah, I was trying the chance to overtake him here on the grid, and yeah, after that I was trying to push my limit, and yeah, I finished another one in the 1st position. Cool.
So there he is on the top step of the podium. Race 1 here at Silverstone. 2 more to come. Stay with us.
Welcome back, and before we get on with the action, I wanted to explain a unique paddock here at the Maserati Trofeo World Series. Most of the drivers here share the same awning, or here in Silverstone the same garage. It's open plan to allow everybody to show what they're up to, and keeps for a very level playing field.
You can share information with each other. You have the same cars. It's kind of a team feeling because I raced for already 3 years and I know most of the people from Maserati, from the other teams. So we have a lot of fun together, and I like that the most.
For some of the drivers, they run as part of a privateer team, and the most successful of those teams is the Swiss racing squad. Gabriele Gardel is one of their drivers.
The car is here, we have one mechanics and a half per car, and we are more close as a family because we are good friends, but as you can see we are sharing the box with everybody, we have no secret, car are all equal for everybody, so it's just a matter of rules that is the chance to have a private team.
Well, as the drivers line up for race 2, I'm at P2 spot with Gabriele Gardel. Gabriele, we saw you in good battles yesterday, but you dropped back. What was the problem?
Yesterday, unfortunately, at 3 laps to the end, I had drive shaft problem. So due to that, I have to go back to the pit, and no point, no nothing. So it was a little bit pity, you know. But today, I hope that everything is fine, and you know, we are here in the first row to try to bring for Swiss team another good result.
Alan, you start 8th on the grid for race 2, but you had a fantastic race yesterday, making your way up the grid. What can you do now today?
I try to do like yesterday, but in front is a little bit difficult right now. So I hope to have a good start and to stay with the group of the first in front, and what we see.
The conditions are quite different to yesterday's race. It's a lot colder, it's a bit damp in the air. How's that going to affect you?
But probably the track is a little bit slippery, so the most important thing is I have to be careful and push hard.
Conditions could not be any different from race 1. Miserable here at Silverstone on Sunday morning. Very wet overnight and a little bit of rain still on the circuit, and wet conditions then. Concern from some of the drivers as just to how slippery it may be, and it's certainly cold as well. Heading down towards the first corner, Swiss team dominating that front row, but Ragazzi down the inside. Oh, and a big spin. Spinner from Sergio, and he's taken 2 other cars with him. I think that may well be Mark Turley as one of them, and maybe Alan Simoni as well. And you can just see how cautious these cars are being at the moment. Really tiptoeing through the first few turns, the grip not there, and this is where an opportunity to make a real dent in your competitors is. Finding the maximum of that grip. On board, by the way, with the number 33 car, Max Gazze. He is an Italian pop star, if you don't live in Italy and had no idea. And so much excitement from Maserati about him racing here at Silverstone this weekend for the 3 races. He has done some racing before, because you need an international license to race in the Maserati Trofeo World Series, but you can do it in about 3 or 6 races, I think, before you move into an international C grade. So on board then with Mauro Calamia. Calamia, sorry, ahead of us. This is Gardel. And here's a replay of the start. Oh, so no, it was Michael Cullen who got into the back of Sergio and spun him, and then look at further back, where does Alan Simoni come from? Well, he just got caught up in it, didn't he? But it was actually Michael Cullen out braking himself going into the first turn, not his teammate. Oh, and very, very wide. Oh, that's going to be a big one. Can he keep it out the barriers? Yes, he can. Daniel Diaz-Varlea getting caught out by the intermittent traction control these cars have. It's there to help you, but it's not there to get you out completely scot-free. And Varla then just nerfing the barrier. Lucky actually to get away with it, but I think he's coaxing back a limping machine now back to the pits. Although that is our spinner, isn't it, from the start of the race, Giorgio Sergio. Just trying to get out of the way of our leaders. Giuseppe Pasicciolo in the number 7 machine, having a good fight here with Andres Ziegler. And we go back on board with Gabriele Gardel. Oh, he's outbraked himself going into Abbey, lost the rear end. Now where is, yes, a change then, because Ragazzi was right behind him, and Ragazzi slides his way through, takes advantage of that, and you can see his dashboard instantly blinks up. You've lost a second and a half, and by the way, you've lost your second position. Gabriele Gardel doesn't make many mistakes. He's a multitude champion in GT cars. great to have in this championship as a benchmark. And there he goes, making an uncharacteristic mistake and losing the rear end. Of course, he did have those problems in race 1, as he told us on the grid. Oh, and another car running a bit wide there. Nino Curti, who was involved in a crash in race 1 and ended up in the gravel in Luffield, just down here, having a nice little battle with a recovering Alan Simoni after his problems in the first corner. Now Siegler dropping into the clutches of Matthias Becker, who's now aboard the 28 car for his sprint race. Andrea Cecchilero taking that car to 3rd position on the podium in race 1, and then he'll drive it in race 2, and then they'll both share it in the final race of the weekend. Not sure why it says backdoor man on the rear of Siegler. Whoa! Oh well, whatever was on his back door has just flown off. Andrea Siegler, I think, has just completely lost his rear diffuser, and that will not help him whatsoever in these fast turns. The car sucked to the ground by a rear diffuser, gives you much more rear traction through the high-speed stuff, and therefore that car will be horrible to drive the next couple of laps. And you see it, how it's neatly moulded around the exhaust there on the back of Mauro Calamia's car. Here is the battle for 2nd position, Ragazzi versus Gardel, on board with Gardel. Taking a lot of curb through the Vale. This sort of a constant radius right-hander, used to be actually a constant radius right-hander until they changed it for Formula 1 and built that new building on the inside, and it became 2 right angles effectively. But with 1 minute and 56 seconds remaining, Gardel has only got about a lap and a half to try and find a way past Ragazzi. He's pretty close, doesn't he? Ragazzi's already shown his pace in race 1, battling with Calamia for the first half of the race. Here is Mauro Calamia, though, going through the final turns. It's going to be 2 out of 2 for Calamia. And what another dominating drive. He just doesn't do anything wrong. And therefore another 25 points goes on Mauro Calamia and his quest for the championship here in the Maserati Trofeo World Series. And punches the air with delight. So he should. Provisional results then. Ragazzi, Gardel, Kohler picking up 4th, and Simoni back to 5th after his mistake in the final turn. Great work. Well, this podium may have smiles on it, but there was big changes in the paddock after race 2.
Well, the big news in the paddock is that Mauro Calamia has been excluded from race 1 due to a technical infringement. So, of course, Ricardo, that does promote you to the race win, but that has implications for race 3.
Yeah, so I'm so happy to win my first victory this year, and in a fantastic track like Silverstone, and we will see for the race 3 because, yeah, I start behind Mauro, but I don't know if he had again the penalty. We will try to stay in front of him again, with or not the penalty. The race 3 is very, very long. 1 hour is very hard for myself because I'm sick, you know, for the car, for the tires. Mauro is very fast driver, but we will try all my best to beat him.
So big drama here at Silverstone. Join us for race 3 in a few moments' time.
So grid positions for race 3 are determined from qualifying 1 and 2. However, this weekend, race results 1 and 2 for Calamia have been disqualified. And for teammate Gardel, race 2 has been disqualified. So that puts the championship points open to everybody. Let's have a quick word with Mauro. Mauro now has a new car for this race. Mauro, new car for the race, so what are your thoughts?
I don't know, we will see. It's the car for when happening something with my other car, so I have to use this one, and we will see. I don't know, it's the first time that I drive with this car, so we will see what happens. I will push every lap like before in the other races, and I want to win the race, so we will see.
It's been a difficult weekend for you. I suppose you have to put that out of your head and just concentrate on race 3 now.
Yeah, it's true. It was the weekend began very well because in the free practice I was the fastest, also in the qualifying. But after in the race we have a lot of problems with the technical things of the car, and now we want to make a good thing for the last race here in Silverstone.
Thank you. Well, let's get straight on with race 3.
Thank you very much, Louise. And once again, those two Swiss team cars do have the pole position. Combined results from qualifying 1 and qualifying 2 puts them on the front row. Calamia versus Gardel, Ragazzi and Sergagnato hopefully can get a decent finish in that 70 machine here for the first time this weekend, and hoping that the endurance race will be a little bit kinder than the 2 sprint races. Better weather for this third race of the weekend, the last race on the GT Open Championship that we are supporting here at Silverstone this weekend. Side by side going in to Maggots and Beckett, but it is actually Gabriel Gardel from the outside who's managed to hold on to moved up in fact to pole position and leading this race, going through Maggots and Beckett for the first time. So once again proving that actually on the outside line on a rolling start is better than the inside line going into this very fast corner here at Copse. Trying to make it third position. Here's Sergagnato, and he does. Michael Cullen locking up around the outside in 5th position, and side by side Ragazzi goes all the way around the outside at Stowe. Great work, but still has to fall in line to 4th position. So that has released Sergagnato, gets a big slide on through Vale. On board again with our friend Max Gazet, who's enjoying his first experience of the Maserati Trofeo series. He's been finished outside the top 10 in both of the sprint races, but hoping that the endurance race is a bit more his style, because he's not necessarily an all-out-and-out racer, but thinks that his smoothness will preserve the tyres a little better. Sergagnato is not being smooth at all. Looking black lines there through Abbey, as they all try and sort themselves out. Of course, the combination of qualifying 1 and 2 dictates the grid, and if you've had a problem in one of those 2, then you are compromised into this endurance race, like Alan Simoni, who starts once again from 23rd position on the grid. He's got up to 6th in race 1, who's started 6th, I think, in race 2 and finished in 5th, despite falling to the back of the grid and having that problem in the first corner. But he has to start all the way back down in 23rd again in this one, so it'll be interesting to see how far he can make his way up the field. A waving there from our friend Giuseppe Fasciolo. Not quite sure why. Perhaps he's had a little bit of contact from Lino Curti, who is behind him in the 18 car. Haven't seen Carlo at all this weekend, the 81 car, as Simoni makes a move. So he's already up. God, he's already up 5 or 6 positions, only 1 lap in. Great start from Alan Simoni. What might have been for him. He's normally, to be fair, he is up the front of the field, but he's already got himself to 7 positions in 1 lap. Right, on board then with our 2nd place man, leader of the championship, Mauro Calamia, moves to the outside line, going into Stowe. Can he make this move stick? Gardel, is on the outside, and Calamia on the inside. They're still side by side. Got all the way around the outside. Gardel now has the inside line, braking into Vale, but he just hasn't got the strength under brakes. And Mauro Calamia slides through. His team is there for Calamia. Gardel really is a supporting role. And now he slits in the slipstream. 3 more rounds, by the way, of the championship. At the Virginia International Speedway in America, the Shanghai Grand Prix venue in China, in support of the World Touring Car Championship. And then they'll go to the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix circuit in December. And a lot of the drivers, I expect, will change when they go racing abroad. We'll see many more Chinese drivers in China, that's for sure, and probably a few of the Americans as well, because there are some other series from Maserati. A bit of contact further back between Charlie Conde in the 31 car and Philip Bergen in the 65. Oh, and round goes Mark Turley, beautifully helped. And Massimo Mantavieno collects him as well in the 51 car. Big shame then for Turley, who is enjoying his weekend out on his own for once, faced with the challenge of racing the full 1 hour rather than sharing it with Cullen. Here is Cullen though, under pressure from Alan Simoni in 15 minutes. Unbelievable work from Simoni. He's now found his match though. Cullen has the inside line and will not let Simoni go round the outside, that is for sure. Cecalero, I believe, is in the 28 car and is also part of this battle. And then Lino Curti in the red nose machine. He's trying to find a way through. And then we have the leader of the over 50s championship, Roberto Ranieri, in the 60 car at the back of the queue, and trying to join them as well is Giuseppe Fascicolo, I think, in the 7 car. So what a train, all battling for 6th position. Once again, Cullen finds the inside line. Not sure how much running he would have done actually around this Silverstone circuit in this configuration. He used to race in the British GT Championship for many years in a Ferrari. However, that would have been on the old venue, or maybe not even on the full Grand Prix track, maybe on the international circuit. Still though, battle rages on. Simoni dives to the inside line. Cullen has to go diagonally into the braking zone at Brooklands. Protects his line. Oh, and Lino Curti's managed to slide past Cecalero. Great move from Lino Curti. Cecalero should have disappeared out of this group a long, long time ago. Number 3rd he got in race 1. Cullen still protects the inside line. And Simoni yet to find a way through. But now with Simoni under pressure, potentially from Lino Curti, that might change his mindset just a little bit, because of course, not only is he trying to attack, but he doesn't want to make a mistake and then allow Curti through. These cars are so evenly matched. I can tell you there are 2 massive groups of cars on circuit, this lot here, and then pretty much everybody else is behind. It's only the front 3 or 4 who are really stretching an advantage, with Calamia leading. Gardel in 2nd position. And then you've got a small battle between Ragazzi, Cola and Cerignato. Still Cullen defends into Vale this time. Sits in the middle of the road. Curti's having to defend also from Cecalero. No other changes at the moment. Fascicolo is there to hoover up any of the pieces that are left behind if things go on. Here is the battle then for 3rd position, the final podium between Cola and Ragazzi. Cola faded in race 1, if you remember. Didn't see too much of him in race 2, but now looks to the inside for the podium and passes Riccardo Ragazzi. Lovely move. Obviously Ragazzi had made an error through the Maggis and Beckett section of turns. And now can Ragazzi come and find a way through down the inside? No, not through Vale. Big braking zone there, but he just wasn't close enough. And it also narrows quite a bit. The narrowest part of the circuit actually is going into that turn. So remember, everyone has to make a pit stop regardless of whether you are a single driver entry or a shared driver. And also there is championship weight to the pit stop, so a 20-second penalty for Mauro Calamia as and when he gets to the pits. Apologies for our GoPros, by the way. Onboard cameras only showing the inside and not really what's going on outside, unless the eagle-eyed amongst of you can work out exactly where you are on circuit. Right, Cullen versus Alan Simoni. Simoni starting in 23rd position, now battling for 6th position. Then it's Curti, then Cecalero, then Ranieri and Fascicolo. Oh, he's run wide. Cullen's run a little bit wide there through Village, and now surely down the inside. Alan Simoni can come. Oh, and he sticks his fingers up as well. That's not very nice, Mr. Simoni. Out the window, middle finger up. And I think that Michael Cullen is going to lose 2 positions after that mistake. He does indeed. And through goes Lino Curti. So Curti really making inroads. And we were talking about making mistakes earlier. We were talking about how much it's going to be punishing you in this big train of cars. And that's exactly what's happened. So there is the results after 11 laps. Calamia, Gardel, Cola, Ragazzi, Sergignato, and then everybody else behind. Cecalero. Roberto Silva is, in the 30 car, not Rainieri. Roberto Silva in that blue bonneted machine. And then already Mauro Calamia has made inroads in the back markers and starting to put laps on them after less than half an hour of racing. Nice work from Michael Cullen. Looks strong through Magus and Beckers, you've got to say. Can he get his head down and recoup some of the positions lost? Not really sure I like Alan Simone's little gesture out the window to Cullen. Cullen had been pretty fair in his defence. He'd been pretty strong. There's no doubt about that, positioning his car so far on the inside all the time. But he hadn't done anything wrong. He hadn't pushed him out wide. And he certainly could have done. One of the things that Maserati really provide and prove themselves is how friendly the championship is. And you heard a little bit about the garages being open plan. Well, hospitality is the same thing, and everyone chats and compares notes, and one of the really nice things about the championship, everyone really just gentlemen drivers, all trying to sort of forward themselves and all on this same quest to do better. Change on means the pits are now open. And Simone just making a little gap now between him and Curti, and a big slide again from Michael Cullen. Whether he was helped that time by Andrea Cecalero, he may well have been. Cecalero's down side by side, 4 wheels off there for Michael Cullen, Cecalero on the inside line, and here comes Silva to make it 3 wide going into Brooklands. Surely that's not going to work. Silva's sensible and backs out of it, but Cecalero's still fighting, still trying to go around the outside of Brooklands. It'll give him the inside to Luffield. He gives it an extra bit of a squirt, locks up, and that will be defence of his position from Michael Cullen. Lovely, lovely, beautiful racing. Not one bit of contact, not one panel bashed. I'll tell you what, there are others in this championship that would have completely destroyed their cars there, but Cecalero and Cullen playing fair and nice and very entertaining indeed as well to watch. It's backed Silva and Fasicolo up together as well. So whilst Giuseppe has just been sitting there watching all of this unfold, he's now potentially can get part of the battle. You really have to work extra hard once you get into these groups of cars to try and find a way through, because they are so evenly matched. It's all about the driver, and the driver gets into this rhythm of doing the same thing every lap. It might not necessarily be the fastest way, but sometimes it is the most comfortable for these gentlemen drivers. Pits are open then. There is Roberto Rainieri in the 60 car going into the pits. So some of our drivers further back coming in, and they will have a timed pit stop, and the mechanics will just check tyre pressures and bring them back down if they need to be, if they've been overheated at all. Some drivers will overheat the front tyres more with understeer. Others will be lighting up the rear end more, having more of a slide, and therefore the rears will overheat. And as soon as you start that cycle, it gets worse and worse because you overheat the tyres, therefore they provide less traction, and therefore you overheat them even more. So it's all about to get very complicated here. We're going to lose Andrea Cecalero. Matthias Bacher is going to jump aboard that car. And in fact, I was about to say there are others, but in fact only Massimo Mattavieno and Mauro Cesari were sharing, and that car was eliminated early on. So Matthias Bacher is the only driver that's waiting to get in a car. Here is our leader though. Haven't seen much of him, Mauro Calamia. Once again, driving perfectly. 29.5 minutes remaining. Still a whole sprint race distance. We haven't really got to the bottom of exactly what the technical problem was with the Swiss team cars. But they've put Calamia in his spare chassis for this race. Obviously, whatever they had done, they'd modified something in the chassis that couldn't be then remodified before the start of the race, so they've sent him out in this car. Why Gardel's car was only disqualified from one of the races, I do not know. Maserati being very cagey, but our leader is in the pits for his extended pit stop, and that gives us a chance to take a break here at Silverstone. Welcome back to Silverstone. 15 minutes remaining. The pits are now shut and everyone has made their pit stop. And it's put Mauro Calamia, the early leader of our race, into third position after his extended pit stop for his championship advantage. And therefore, he sits behind Cola at the moment. Alberto Cola in that white machine. Under pressure, though, hugely from Mauro Calamia. And such has been Calamia's pace all year, to be fair. This should be a pretty much done thing with 15 minutes remaining. Heads into the complex through the right section on power and then flicks it into the hairpin at Village. Gets back on the power. The car moving around quite a lot more, of course, now. The tyres have been used for 45 minutes. A little bit of puff of smoke coming from Alberto Cola's car as well. Whether that's developing a problem or not. Cola goes defensive and not particularly smooth or fast at all through Brooklands. Maybe watching his mirrors too much. Those yellow cars are almost like red Ferraris. You know, as soon as you see one in the mirror, you know that it's going to be getting you. It's going to be snapping at your heels. And whether it's Gardel or Calamia, the same fate sorely applies. It's Gardel, by the way, who leads this race. He's got about an 11-second advantage over this little battle. With 14 minutes remaining, he will hope and pray to hold on to that win. Flat out through the first part of Maggots, then Beckett's. Cola didn't lose a huge amount in the last lap, but that was because Calamia was stuffed up behind him so close. There is the gap then, visibly, between Gardel and Cola, and then Mauro Calamia. Giorgio Sergignato in the 70 car here for the first time this weekend. It lies in fourth position still. Much better than he had in the first two races. He retired from one of them. But where can Calamia find a way through? It looks like at the moment Cola is doing pretty well. Hasn't made too many errors. Oh, he's on the curb now, though. Oh, and he's lost the rear end, and surely that's going to allow Calamia down the inside. Yes, it does. We saw Calamia doing a very similar thing about a few laps ago, but was able to gather it up a lot easier than that. And oh, Cola made such a dog's dinner of collecting the car back up. It had so much sideways. Oh, we got safety car out. So just in time, Calamia sticks himself into second position, and now that massive gap to Gardel will be nothing. Gardel will still lead, but look, the two yellow cars are together. And with 4.5 minutes remaining, I wonder if we could see a change in the top three. There is Max Gaze. He hasn't even caught up to the safety car yet. Back racing then here at Silverstone. 4.5 minutes remaining, which means approximately 2 to 3 laps. And we have all the cars together in race order. The advantages or disadvantages made by the first drivers or the first stint of the race will now be nullified. It's all about the sprint to the flag. Who's got the tyres? That is one thing. And hopefully you'd say that Mauro Calamia in his early stint wouldn't have pushed so hard and therefore should have a really good car underneath him. Calamia lies in second as Gardel sticks his hand out the window. Why on earth would you do that? I must say the car doesn't sound particularly good. Now, we saw him doing that race one, channeling a bit of air into his face, but I'd be surprised if he was doing that in the heat of battle. Gardel then, still ahead of Calamia. And you'd have thought, with Gardel not necessarily there to fight for the championship, or to take it away anyway from Mauro Calamia, he's second in the championship, you'd have thought the positions may change. Cola lies in third position, Ragazzi in fifth spot, with the 28 machine of Cecalero and Bakker in sixth. And now just a few more corners to go. 2 more braking zones to go. Kohler is looking very, very close, though, to the back of Mauro Calamira, and maybe this will be where the change is. For many, this could be the last race of the Maserati Trofeo World Series this year. The Europa Trophy ends after Silverstone, and therefore a chance to make up some final few points in the quest to get a decent result in that championship. It's going to be won surely by Mauro Calamira. The braking zone at Brooklands is passed, and it is going to therefore be Gardel who takes a victory. A seldom victory for Gardel this year. Just the one at Spa at the start of the year. And now he takes one more here at Silverstone. It could be his last. The checkered flag falls. Gardel is your winner, ahead of Mauro Calamira. And Alberto Kohler gets that 3rd position. In that amazing battle for 6th position, Baca and Cecalero ahead of Simoni, with Cullen in 8th.
I'm really proud to race with this Swiss team. The guys made a tremendous job, but 1 hour before the race they changed car. They have just to fix the seat, belt, stuff for Mauro, so they work really, really hard. So nothing against the regulation, but I think that we are not really far. We have no gain, no nothing, and was a little bit strong against us. So the thing is, I'm happy to win this race. I'm happy to be part of this championship because all competitors are really nice guys, nice to fight with them, and I'm really happy to do that. But about the bureaucratic stuff, this not so much. But anyway, thank you everybody.
The championship moves on to America, the Virginia International Speedway at the end of August, but for the moment it's champagne spraying at Silverstone.
Well, it's certainly been controversial here at Silverstone for the Maserati Trofeo World Series, but it keeps the competition still exciting. We'll see you next time.